I know you have to go to bed. Just say, good luck with your exam.
Good luck with your exam.
Exam. And give him a wave. Okay, you got to go to bed now. Ah. Hello guys, sorry, just had to serve that pie. Oh, there's lots of things been said. Don't know what this is all going on about. Oh, George, I don't know what the short course exam is tomorrow, mate. Sorry. I don't teach year 10s who are doing this exam. It's for the themes paper for AQA, which is relationships, life issues, conflict, and crime. So I don't know if that's useful. Yeah, it's relevant to the GCSE exam tomorrow for AQA. It's the AQA one. Jack, no, I'm not turning the chat call down off because otherwise I get overwhelmed. I'm too stupid anyway. You've got to respect how thick I am. Okay, it's just very difficult for me. So, what have I done there? Right, okay, so, first of all, well, let's talk about the exam in general. I'll take away the cooking pie bits, okay? Oh, wait, let's take away that. So, how can I see? I want to see that chat bit that I had. Oh, I don't know how to do that. Right, here you go. You come over here. Down there. You go away. Oh, I don't know what I've done there. So, yeah. I don't really know how to start halving things like that. That's not something I'm capable of doing. You must understand I'm a very old man. So, tomorrow's exam is going to have 2 papers, okay? 1 questions and 1 answers. What does that mean? Only write on one of the papers. If it's got questions written on it, do not write on it, okay? All your answers must go in the answer booklet. All your answers must go in the answer booklet. Otherwise, they won't be marked. So, yeah, this is AQA, Harrison. No, I'm not studying one. I'm just going to do Christian quotes because this is the exam's tomorrow. So for me, this is like your last minute stuff. I'm just going to give you the basics to give you a chance of passing. I don't think we need to go into both Christian and Islam. I'm just going to focus on simple Christian quotes so you know exactly where it's from. So you can source it, just go Bible. So I'll try to do as many Christian quotes as possible. Yeah, hello to a cat. Yeah, I don't know. Thanks, Shrimp, for teaching me how. I don't know who that is. I assume I teach you if you're going to come and do it. But, I mean, I'm not sure it matters that much how much you can badger me with things. Don't forget, if you're in my class and I teach you, okay, who this is really for, I'm glad other people are here and are getting something out of this, but this is meant to be for like my class generally. This is for, at least the school I work at, this is for themes A, B, D and E, okay? The way we've remembered it is a baby dies every day because that's a very bleak way of remembering it, but you don't forget it, it's a very bleak way. I know other classes got other ways, like everybody does A, I don't know that because it's not in alphabetical order. So this is what the one I do, A, B, D, E, a baby dies every day, especially as we do the very sombre abortion section. That's the right thing for me to do on that. Let me just make sure it looks alright. Yeah, okay, I'm not in the way of any of the stuff now. So, have I done that? Oh no. I've clicked the wrong thing. Oh, there we go, there we go. Oh my lord, there's so many more chats. I just had you for 4 year 7, right. Right, I might, who are you moaning at me? I don't even teach you. Right, so, let's think of the most simple quotes we can for this section, alright? Thou shalt not commit adultery, okay? Why is that a really good quote? Well, we can use it on any question about sex outside of marriage, and you can use it on any divorce question, okay? Thou shalt not commit adultery. It's one of the 10 commandments, one of the big rules. Don't cheat on your partner. Use it in the sex outside of marriage question, only on a sex outside of marriage question. Don't use it in a sex Alright, dog, you alright? Don't use it on a sex before marriage section. On a sex before marriage section, you want to... Dog's come to join us. Hello, Rosa. On a sex before marriage section, you want the next quote, which we'll talk about in a second. But on a divorce question, you could be like, why is it okay to get divorced? Thou shalt not commit adultery. If your partner's committed adultery, they've already broken the fundamental rule of your religion, of your marriage, so you can get divorced from them. It would be acceptable at that point. Study money, you should be able to get full marks only using one religion if you're fluent in it. Would it be better to use both religions? Yes, but this is the day before the exam. If you're here on a YouTube channel that the teacher you don't know replies at this point, you're making last minute decisions. No, so for the themes paper, the exam board don't know what religion options you've chosen. So don't worry about having to include Islam. You've not made any religious options. When the marker gets this paper, they don't know what religions you learnt in school. They assume you learnt Christianity. Oh, don't moan you. They assume you learnt Christianity, but no one at the exam board knows whether you did Christianity or Islam or Christianity and Hinduism. So don't panic about talking about other religions. Right. So, thanks, dog. Now, flee from sexual immorality is the shortest quote I can get for sex before... Oh, cheers, dog. Sex before marriage, okay? Why should we not have sex before marriage? Well, it's immoral. It's the wrong thing to do. It's not a good thing to do. So you should not have sex before you're married, alright? How many quotes should you use? I mean... Yeah. Right, you need to stop moaning so much at me. I'm not getting paid by you. So, how many quotes should you use? 1 quote in a 5 marker, definitely. You might want to slip one into a 4 marker, and then at least 2 quotes in a 12 marker. I've tried to do the least number of quotes you should get. Sorry, my dog's been an absolute muppet. Right, what do you want, dog? You want one of your toys? Yeah, do you want that one? Is that what you want? There you go. Have that. So, this is the the smallest amount of quotes you can get. Treat other people as you wish to be treated. I'm putting that one in there about any question you could use about cohabitation, about not being judged. You can talk about a divorce, allowing a divorce because of that. This quote's going to come up a lot, so I've just put it in there because we're going to mention it a lot. Now, this is my class's favourite quote. Do not spill your seed upon the dusty ground. Because this can be about contraception and about homosexuality. Okay? And this one can be about homosexuality as well. And can be about gender issues. And gender issues is just about male and female. Don't start talking about trans rights or anything like that. You can do, but it's not me answering the question particularly. Yeah, I can do quickly, but only if I'm not getting 1,000 questions. The 4th quote, do not spill your seed upon the dusty ground. Every man's sperm should be trying to get someone pregnant when they have sex. So all sex should be for procreation, okay? All sex should be for procreation, not fornication. You're not having sex for pleasure, you're having sex just to have children. Do not spill your seed upon the dusty ground. Right. Be fruitful and multiply. This is the purpose of everything. You can talk about what's the purpose of marriage. You can talk about contraception. Contraception. You can use this quote for homosexuality. Why is homosexuality wrong? Well, you cannot be fruitful and multiply, okay? You can use this for divorce at a stretch, because you can be like, why is divorce bad? Well, I can no longer be fruitful and multiply. It can be the purpose of family. Like, that is a useful quote. Want you to have that one in your head. Be fruitful and multiply. I'm just going to highlight the quotes so I can spot where they are. So when I go from the end, I can read them all. I've tried to use as many quotes, like I did for the last revision session, that can be used on multiple sections, okay? The most important thing is that your quotes can be used on multiple sections. That's what makes it the most useful. You can be like, right, what can I use it on? What God has joined together, let no man pull apart. That's a bit more limited. It's just a divorce quote. It's a quote just for divorce. So that's the one I'd want to be using that on, just divorce, okay? And honour your father and mother, purpose of family. Okay, what's the purpose of family? Honour your father and mother. I'd want to see that in there if there was any question about the purpose of family. And there is no male or female, all one in Jesus Christ. In Christ, or sometimes says Christ Jesus, and that's gender equality or gender issues, whichever you want to call it. Anything about gender, you can drop that one in. Obviously, you might want to drop in, like, if you wanted to say why women and men aren't equal, you might draw women must remain silent in churches. I mean, it's much more specific though. That can only be used on one question. But so can on the, well, there's no male or female. We're going to use that in a later section. So let me just check the questions. Right. Alright. They're all from the Bible. All the quotes are from the Bible. Yeah, I will do a structure one in a second. So, firstly, your main topics are going to be sex outside of marriage or sex before marriage. Any question on that, read it really carefully, okay? Is the question asking you to talk about just sex outside of marriage, which means you can talk about adultery and sex before marriage, or is it saying sex before marriage, in which case you cannot talk about adultery? You want to be saying on one side, yeah, it's wrong to have sex outside of marriage, marriage is a sacred place to have sex, and then you want to be like going, oh no, sex before marriage could be good, cohabitation, that's another good quote. it is not good for man to be alone, and talk about how, it's not good for man to be alone, I want to be with a person, and this could lead to marriage. And in modern times when we can use contraception, sex before marriage isn't such a big deal, and then be like, Christians say it is a big deal because you've got to be pure, be fruitful and multiply, what God has joined together let no man pull apart. You want to be that together so you can raise children together. Do not spill your seed upon the dusty ground, don't use contraception, okay? Theme G, there is no theme G. There is no theme G. Right, so what do I think the 12 marker will be this time? What will the 12 marker be? Well, last year it was divorce. It was a really simple divorce question. So it would be lovely if it was that again. That would be a great question. It could be something like men should not be treated differently from women inside a religion. And that could be the question. I mean, I could really see that one coming up, and we'll look at how to structure that one maybe. There could be something like coming up like all sex outside marriage is wrong. That could be the 12 marker. Wouldn't surprise me. It is the duty of all religious believers to get married. Could be that could be a 12 marker. Or maybe something like the purpose of family is to raise children in the faith. Okay. All of these are potential 12 markers, and it could be something different to that. What does don't spill your seed on a dusty floor mean? Not dusty floor, dusty ground, okay? It doesn't mean in your kitchen. The dusty floor is about, but what the Bible's saying is, do not plant seeds where they will not grow. And this as a metaphor means, do not have sex in places where you aren't going to get someone pregnant. So a man and a man cannot have sex in the Bible because that person can't get pregnant. You can't use a condom while you have sex because that person won't get pregnant, okay? So it's banning any sex that doesn't lead to children, okay? Any sexual activity doesn't lead to children. Yeah, two of those messages didn't come up because of the language using them, but they're both correct interpretations of it. Yeah, Jensen, a perfect definition of it there. Yeah, of course I'll do theme E, but how about we do them in order rather than starting with theme E? Oh, sorry, my head's covering it, is it? Absolutely fine. Let's shrink my head. I've never liked my head anyway. It's the worst part of me. So, these aren't quotes. These are potential questions. Potential 12 markers. So, let's plan one out together. What are we on? How much time have we got to these? Probably half an hour per section. So we're fine, we've got plenty of time. So, I think the one we should go for is a 12 marker. Let's go, it's the duty of all religion. No, let's go all sex outside of marriage is wrong. Okay, that is the one I'm going to go for. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so we're going to go back and forth on this issue. Okay, now today we're just going to focus using Christianity versus non-religious. Okay, because that's an easy argument for us, but we could do Christianity if we wanted to. And if you've got the knowledge, you can do Christianity in your other religion. Yeah. Alan, mate, this is for my school that I work at. I ain't teaching Mark's Gospel. That's the textual paper, and this is the themes paper. Wrong revision session. This ain't going to help you in the slightest. Yeah, I am writing the main quotes for all the themes, but only the themes I teach to my students. This is so I can help my students pass it. The themes is whatever religion you want to do about it. I'm teaching my students Christianity because that's what I've chosen to do. You're welcome to jump on your teacher streams and learn from them if they've got them. You know what I mean? Like, come on, give us a break. 7:30. I've got an 8-week-old baby. I'm trying to get sorted and feeding people. I've got a stupid dog. Right. So my first paragraph would be like, some Christians would agree with this concept as sex is meant to be for procreation and all children should be raised in a nuclear family. Banging start, look at that, okay? A quote that supports this argument is, "Go forth and multiply." This suggests that God wants us to have a large family, but this would mean being married, and the purpose of sex would be to, that's a poor sentence, mean being married. I'm just going to stay there, okay? Therefore, we can say that sex outside marriage is wrong, as it should not lead to children. I don't want a perfect paragraph, I'm going to go. A weakness of this argument is that not all sex in modern times has to lead to children. A counter-argument. As on the other hand, some atheists might argue that contraception allows a couple to experience love and closeness without the risk of having children, and therefore sex outside marriage would not be considered a sin. This is because it would be safe to do so without risk of having children. However, there is a weakness to this argument that Catholics would say all sex must aim to have children and should be done in a marriage. And then you link to your next paragraph when you're going to drop in our favourite quote, do not spill your seed upon the dusty ground. No, oh my god, like 50,000 questions. Right. No, I'm doing your predicted paper for the themes right now. Good. I'm not going to talk about Islam very much. I'm going to try and focus on Christianity because the exam's in like 16 hours, so let's just try and like get the basics sorted. You can talk about, look, you can talk about whatever religions you like in the paper. Once you're writing your paper, if I wanted to make my next paragraph on this an Islam paper or a Hinduism Islam paragraph or a Hinduism paragraph, I'm absolutely fine. As long as you're showing a balanced argument, okay, two sides of it, you're showing counteracting points of view, you're absolutely fine. You could do Catholics versus other Christians, you could do Catholics versus Church of England, it's absolutely fine. The themes paper, they don't know what you've been taught. I know that sounds stupid. The examiner who marks it just knows you're doing a themes paper. So if your argument is Buddhism versus Hinduism, absolutely fine. They don't know what you've been taught, they don't care what you've been taught. The question just says what religious believers. Yeah, thanks Tawheed for explaining that very well. Right. I don't know why there's a goblin mentioned. Would I recommend A-level RE? I don't know, I don't even have GCSE RE. They just found me outside in the bins and I've been teaching it for years. I'm going to go till 9:30 because after that I need to go and feed my child again because I need to constantly feed that child to stop him dying. That is part of it. Now I would then do, I'm not going to go through all of this one, I would then do another in favour argument saying all sex outside of marriage is wrong, and I'll be using my quote, do not spill your seed on the dusty ground. Then I'm probably going to go an against argument and be like, maybe judge and you will be judged. Ooh, judge and you will be judged, or a treat other people who should be treated. And do a paragraph about being like, oh, it's a person's personal choice, they want to have sex before marriage, sex outside of marriage is wrong. I'm not going to do an adultery paragraph, I'm just going to focus on sex before marriage, but you could easily do an adultery paragraph and get yourself loads of marks. Okay, and then I'm going to do a conclusion at the end. My conclusion is going to be sex outside marriage is wrong. Now, I don't believe sex outside marriage is wrong. As a personal point of view, I'm not religious, but I think it's an easier conclusion because you've got more quotes to back it up, okay? You can back it up with more arguments because you're making these religious points of view. So I would come down to conclusion, even if I don't agree with it at all, I don't care. The examiner's never going to meet me. They don't even know my name. Just argue the thing that's got the more backup quotes to it and be like, look, here's a load of quotes to prove it. Yeah, turn your speakers up. You can't hear me. Like that. I'm going to struggle to be louder. Once again, I've got a very small child I'm trying to keep asleep at the same time. So let's not give me too much criticism, all right? Yeah, actually, okay, so for a 12 marker, I want to be splitting it down into 5 paragraphs, okay? So, let's do a quick breakdown, how to do a 12 marker. Now, your school will teach you whatever they teach you. I'm telling you how I do it, so you're going to take my one. I want an agree. I want a disagree. I want an agree, a disagree, and a conclusion. Conclusion. Now, I want these linked, okay? I want a link between them. I don't just want you to do an agree paragraph and then just fart your way into a disagree paragraph that's got nothing to do with it. I want there to be some link, and your link would be good if it's evaluation, okay? A weakness of this argument, okay? Now, I always like it to be a weakness rather than strength, because you can then link it into what the other side of the argument says. So if you're saying, if we look at the other 12 markers, it could be, and let's say it's one about gender equality. Okay, and you're going to do your agree argument. Let's say your agree argument is that men and women aren't equal because the Bible says that women must remain silent in churches. You're writing this beautiful paragraph being like, men and women in Christianity are not considered equal. Men and women have different roles. For example, women cannot be priests in the Catholic Church. This is a strong argument because it says in the Bible women must remain silent in churches and therefore they cannot lead in the church, and this shows there is a fundamental difference between them and they cannot be treated equally. However, a weakness of this argument is the Bible also says that men and women should be treated equally and will be judged equally by God. Next paragraph. Then I'd lead into my disagree paragraph, okay? Now, that link, a weakness of this argument is the hardest thing to do, marked by miles, because you've got to be double thinking yourself. You've got to be thinking, hang on a minute, I've got to evaluate this and link to my next paragraph. There's a couple of tricks to it. Firstly, you don't need to do it straight away. When you write your agree paragraph, leave a couple of lines and then later come back to it and think, oh, can I link this in once you come up with the other one, okay? Doesn't matter how it looks on the page, the examiner just marks it. If there's a couple of lines left, they're not going to fuss about it. They're just smashing through these to get them done because they just want the money for marking the most than they can. So if you have to check anything out, just cut the link out, okay? Make sure you've got both sides of the argument and the conclusion. That is the most important part. A balanced argument is always better, but that's what you're going to be doing. Both sides of the argument and then a conclusion. Which is the strongest argument? Not just your opinion, which is the strongest argument. Right. Yeah. Of course, I'll see whoever you are. You can do, you could do agree, agree, disagree, disagree. That's absolutely fine. I always tell mine to do agree, disagree, disagree, because then they're able to do those links between it. The thing that the 12 marker really preaches to get 12 out of 12 is it shows a balanced argument with linking points of views. It says logical chains of reasoning. For me, if you want to show those chains of reasoning, you've got a link agrees to disagrees. I think that's the easiest thing to show the examiner. Look, that's what it is. It's a really abstract thing, logical chains of reasoning, because it's not like a quote, it's not like a source, it's not like saying you can just drop in and be like, this is it, this is how I've done this. So you've really got to show these logical chains of reasoning, and I think the most obvious way for the examiner to sort of fill that tick box in is, oh look, he's linked his paragraphs together, that's a logical chain of reasoning. He has chained these together, these paragraphs, so they make sense as one piece of writing. Right. Yeah, we'll give it a U. Right. Yeah, I'd want you to know about the sanctity of life. We're doing that in the next one. Right. How many quotes should you learn? I think you should learn as many as you can would be the ideal thing. And by that I mean, if you know you've got a terrible memory, maybe just try and pick the most 3 basic quotes from this section, okay? I might go for 3 other, well, you're going to know that one. Be fruitful and multiply, I would make sure I knew. Weirdly, I would have do not spill your seed upon the dusty ground. And then maybe, what's the other one that you must have? I don't know, maybe I mean, I hope you know thou shalt not commit adultery. Maybe flee from sexual immorality, because you can also use that for homosexuality. If you've got 3 that cover the most of it, definitely be fruitful and multiply. If you think I can only learn 3 quotes, then only learn 3 and try and pick one that covers the most number of topics. And be like, okay, part of the intelligence you're going to show in the exam is I'm not going to know the whole Bible off by heart. How can I manipulate the few quotes I have to answer questions when I don't really have the right source to it? For example, I'm sure in that first exam that you lot did last week, a lot of you used love thy neighbour on a question where it didn't seem possible at first. That's the trick, making sure you've got those quotes in your back and ready to go. Right, let's have a look at theme B, okay? The earth is the Lord and everything's in it, okay? This is your question about stewardship and about creation, okay? It's a general creation one, okay? Theme B is life issues. Sorry, I shouldn't explain that. Life issues, which is like a load of massive topics. It's creation, it's afterlife, it's dominion, stewardship, and then it's abortion, euthanasia, and sanctity of life. What's the way to remember the things? It depends what school you're doing, but Arius, so you're asked, Arius, A, B, D, E, I do it, a baby dies every day. Right. So. Alright, oh my lord, there's a lot of you that I'm having to get rid of because you're just annoying. Right. Right. So if some of you are asking questions, I may have just hidden you already so I can't see them. I do apologise. Okay, but I just can't have you being annoying all the time. Oh my lord. Right, can you not try and get into arguments in an RE revision chat? I mean, that's a low bar to be in. So, the earth is the Lord's and everything in it. This is saying that everything on the earth is ours, is God's, and we are just looking after it. So if it's about why we shouldn't eat animals, the earth is the Lord's and everything in it. Why we should look after the environment, the earth is the Lord's and everything in it. But even if there's a question on creation, and it's like, you just need to have a quote on creation, that works in creation as well. The earth is the Lord's and everything in it. This shows that God created the earth and rules over it. You can drop it in that one. Okay? Rule over the birds of the sea, the fish of the sea and the birds of the sky. This is your dominion quote. This is why we should be eating things. It's why we should be testing on things. It's why we should be damaging the environment. Not should be allowed to. Dominion, okay? But also, you can talk about it on creation as well. Okay, it's definitely one you talk about in creation. Rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the sky. How come I'm allowed to eat these animals? Well, God told me I rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the sky. He also said everything that moves should be food for you. Okay, and that's specifically about eating animals. Obviously, don't use it in other questions unless you need to. Let there be light is creation of the universe. Now, that is the one trickster that this paper might do on you, and they're paying for it. When the questions come up, if there's a question about creation, read it carefully and see whether it says creation of the universe or creation of human beings. If it says creation of the universe, then it's specifically asking you to talk about the universe, not about creation of mankind. So you're going to use quotes like, let there be light. You're not going to use anything about Adam and Eve, okay? You're not use anything else. You're going to use, okay, let there be light. If it talks about the universe, about human beings, you want to use God created man in his own image, okay? So this is creation of man. Oh, I don't want you highlighted. That's frustrating. It makes me want to cry. I'm just going to unhighlight it in a second. It's been a long day. I've not slept in a while. Hoping to sleep tonight. But my son won't let me. Because he doesn't respect me. Right. Shh. I don't know what theme I is, Asharis. Are you sure you're in the right revision session? I don't know if I teach the course that you do at your school. I don't work at your school. So please check. Alright. So theme I think is on the text. If you've done the textual themes, the textual studies, where you're doing Mark's Gospel and stuff like that, I think there might be a theme I on that one. I don't know. I don't teach it. It looks difficult. Why would I teach a difficult thing? Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. This is your abortion question. I don't know why I've done abortion in capital letters. That just seems like a threat now. It's worrying. But that's your abortion question. But you can just use thou shalt not kill, okay? Most Christians believe life begins before conception. Okay, that's the word to use. Life begins at conception. So thou shalt not kill. And you can use that on abortion and it's gone yellow again. Euthanasia. Okay, abortion, euthanasia. Thou shalt not kill. Now, obviously, you can drop in a love thy neighbour, but treat other people as you wish to be treated. I put that in the last section. I think that one works in there, and that's going to be your abortion and your euthanasia again. And blessed are the merciful. I think you use that for abortion and euthanasia. Okay, have mercy. If the child is going to suffer and have a low quality, I spelled euthanasia wrong both times because I'm typing too quickly. If a child is going to be born and have a low quality of life, that's the phrase examiners want to see, quality of life, then you can bust out, blessed are the merciful, okay? Because it's a mercy to end that child's life before they are born. If there's a question about euthanasia and suffering, you can also bust out, blessed are the merciful. It's a mercy to end that person's life. Obviously, I'd want you to be busting out sanctity of life on any question about protecting human life. Sanctity of life. Now, there we go. Right, so Abbas, you can't really answer the wrong theme. As long as you just do 4 themes, you've done the right thing. But you should do the themes that you've learnt at your school. I don't know what school that is. I don't teach you. Maybe you're at my school and just in another class. My school are doing A, B, D and E. Okay, but the examiner who marks it does not know what themes you've learnt. They will just mark what's in your book. If you do more than 4 themes, they will give you your best marks. So if somehow one of you does all 6 themes and they get like 4 really good ones and 2 rubbish ones, they'll give you the marks for 4 good ones. Okay, don't do that. Learn the ones you're meant to do in your school. Hardest theme, I think theme B and theme E are the hardest. Theme D is easy. I hope theme D is simple for us. Right. Yeah, on the themes paper there's that. Yeah, philosophy and equality, Asharis, this is not the exam for you. You're doing some other thing. I don't know. Hang on, let me have I do not know what you're doing. Not sure what that is. Ain't one that I teach. Never heard of that. Right. So, that's your main quotes for this one, okay? You've got your main quotes. The most important quote is this one. I would be going, probably, blessed are the merciful. I think it's a really nice, easy one. That's why abortion and euthanasia are correct. And it's really hard to argue that sometimes. And people get in a bit of a muddle arguing why it's correct. Because they argue, they write nice paragraphs about, oh, it's a loving thing to do. It's all about ending suffering. It's all about, like, you'd want to do it. What if the person has been raped? What if that person is in pain? What, you know, and you've got all those nice arguments. But then you need a quote to back it up. Blessed are the merciful. Nice one to back it up. God created man in his own image. That's a useful quote because you can use it in a couple of different sections, all right? So God created man in his own image. This is why human beings are special. It's why human beings are unique. And it's also why human beings are equal. We are all created in his image. Therefore, we must all be equal. And then maybe I'd want like the other third one that's really useful. Rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the sky, because you use it in a creation question, a dominion question, why we eat animals question. I think those 3 are really important ones. What 12 markers could come up, okay? What 12 markers could come up? Now, last year, it was a strange 12 marker, because the 12 marker last year, yeah, I know, dog, you want to play more toys, but I'm not going to let you. So, the 12 marker last year was just about the value of human life. And that's not bad. I think what the examiner was trying to do when they wrote that question, and I don't think it worked as well as they thought, was I think they were trying to write a question that let you lot, students, answer about anything they wanted. And I think we might see that again in some questions. So I think it might be the same sort of vibe, but with the environment this time, okay? It might be like, all religious believers have a duty to care for the planet. Okay? Or the destruction of animals cannot be stopped. Okay, something like that. I think it might be like an animal one or a universe one. It could be one about creation, okay? Like it could be like science teaches us all we need to know about the creation of, and then it will either be of the universe, or it will be mankind. Now, it could be an abortion euthanasia question, okay? That would be the joy. I think an abortion euthanasia question would be great. If it was simple as like, abortion is always wrong, that's lovely. And if it was abortion or euthanasia is always wrong, that would be a lovely question, okay? I'll pick one of these that we're going to do in a second. Let me just check. Oh my God. Right. No, and it's the highest ones again, Mark, not the first four. How many marks do you need to pass for RE? Well, it depends what you think of a pass, but if you're talking like a 5, you're talking mid-60s probably. It depends what the grading boundaries are. I'm not doing theme F, Mr. Commish. Right. Till 9:30, you can just go backwards. Right. This is AQA. Yeah. Oh, sorry, 60 marks for each exam, so 120 overall, roughly. I would say will be the 4 will be somewhere in that region. So, Abbas, no, euthanasia has never come as a 12 marker, which would be great. It would be a lovely one. And but it might not be phrased like that. It might be like last year it was like, in life it would be like, to end someone's suffering is an act of love. Something like that. Could be about ending someone's suffering, and you'd have to work out it's a euthanasia question, okay? Like, it would be lovely if it did come up like that. I should get a taper fade. I have been thinking about getting a fade, but I'm too scared of doing it because I'm an old fat man and my head is lumpy because there seems to be like fat in my head now. Have I ever watched Walking Dead Minton, lad? Yes, I've watched Walking Dead Minton, lad. Okay, let's pick one of these to do. I think I'm going to do all religious believers have a duty to care for the planet because I think this just might be it. The science teaches us all we need to know about the creation of the universe and mankind. That would just be liberal Christians versus fundamentalists. Okay? And it says, and then you'd have to pick whether it says universe or mankind. I can't really practice that one with you because I could practice just the wrong thing, and I'm going to pick exactly what we're doing, whether I want to talk about the universe or mankind. If it's liberal Christians versus fundamentalists, you're going to go, liberal Christians say you can believe in the Bible as well. And so if it's about mankind, talk about evolution and say, the days of creation, Adam and Eve were created at the end after the animals. This shows they could have evolved from the animals. Oh, look at me, I'm so clever. Okay, look, they were like God chose which animals evolved into mankind, and this is God's choice. And if it's about the universe, be like, liberal Christians say that the Big Bang could be the let there be light bit. They only created light, that could be the Big Bang. Don't keep writing, like that. Fundamentalists, no, Bible, Bible, Bible. Just please read carefully and think whether it says about universe or mankind, okay? If it doesn't say either, it just says about creation, perfect, you can talk about either. But if it says universe or mankind, make sure you're talking about the right one. Either the actual universe itself, let there be light, or human beings, Adam and Eve. But let's do this first 12 marker and let's do our first 2 paragraphs on it. Just check the questions because people go silly. Whoa. Right. Now, right, yeah. No. Yeah, you can write about non-religious beliefs. I'm doing Christianity only because this is the day before the exam. We've got to keep things simple, okay? No one's in here because they've planned a really good revision session for themselves where they've got all their quotes written out. You're doing some last one. My favourite cheese, I tried a Dolce de Bourguignon, which was unbelievable, but on a general level, Doux de Montagne, a lovely French cheese. Right, hello, to the last person. Right, so, oh my God, I'm tired. Right, so, I don't know what that means. Right, so, let's do our first paragraph. All religious believers have a duty to care for the planet. I'm going to do my agree first of all, okay? So, some religious believers agree with this idea because let's think what we're going to say, okay? What we're going to say? Well, let's go back, look at our quote. We're going to talk about stewardship, okay? Because the earth was created by God for humans to live in, and it is a sign of respect to care for it on his behalf. Christians who do this may refer to themselves as I'm doing a capital S, stewards, and follow the quote, the earth is the Lord's and everything in it. This quote suggests that we are to respect the planet as it is created by God. However, a weakness of this argument is right. So what's our weakness going to be? We're going to just do dominion. We're going to go outside the argument. Okay, is that God is also said to have given humans dominion over the earth. Okay. Oh, there's a blackbird in my garden eating my seeds. Well done, blackbird. Do not spill those seeds upon my dusty ground. And a pigeon. I hate you, pigeon. You're stupid. Right, so, on the other side of the argument, some Christians may suggest that dominion means that we can use the earth, so I'm trying to watch the pigeon, as we see fit. Not fur. And that we do not need to care for the planet as it is a resource for us to use. For example, the Bible tells Christians to rule over the birds of the sky, that's not the word sky, of the sky, and the fish of the sea. This suggests that we can do as we please these creatures as they are lower than us. Now, do not quote Spider-Man here. However, a weakness of this argument is that even though, because the easy quote to do is for that bit is to say, with great power comes great responsibility, but you cannot quote Spider-Man. Spider-Man is not considered a biblical source. I'm not saying he shouldn't be, but he is not. Okay, weakness on even though God gave humans dominion, it also came with the responsibility to care for the earth as stewards. Bang. Okay, there'll be my first two paragraphs. Now, you don't necessarily need to link that one into your next paragraph. It'd be perfect if you could link. Well done, the dog has chased off the pigeon. Excellent, dog. Well done. You did a good job. Now come inside, dog. Don't just bark at me. I'm not the pigeon. Now you're just barking. I shouldn't have celebrated your barking. You might do like, oh, we should look after the earth because it's what keeps humans alive, and therefore it's good. Sanctity of life. If we let the planet get destroyed, then human beings will die. They do that, and they'd be like, oh no, God would never let humans be destroyed on the earth. He's omnipotent. He created a world that is there to sustain us. Like, we don't have a duty to care for the planet. It's not us who are destroying the planet. Other people who are doing it. You do a non-religious one, being like, well, you can't really do non-religious in this one because it says all religious believers. So you'd have to focus on religious arguments in this one. Oh my God, so many questions. Do I get paid for doing these? No. Who would be paying me? The government? The government don't pay me to do my normal job. No. I mean, you're just like The Walking Dead. Clarissa, if you go to the AQA website, it's got loads. Ecclesfield School in Sheffield's also got a really good revision page with tons of question papers on it. Shira's a great barber. Spend on each theme. I'd want you to spend 25 minutes on each theme. 25 minutes. Split it down like the other paper. 50 minutes for each half the paper, 25 minutes for a quarter of the paper, 25 minutes on each theme. I would personally always answer the themes one theme at a time. Some people like to do all the 12 markers in a row because there's no order. You can do this one any order you want. You're just going to have blank paper to write the questions on. So you just write the question number. Just write the question number. Do not write out the whole question. That would be insane. Just write out the question number in the margin where you got the space to, then answer the question. With the one marker, just put the letter. Do not put the whole word. Just put the letter. 25 minutes is how much I spend on each theme. Time yourself. I would do each section because the answers you write for question, the 4-mark question, the 5-mark question will really influence what you put in your 12-mark question. You might use a paragraph from your 5-mark question in your 12-mark question. So I'd keep that in your head. I wouldn't do 12-mark question, 12-mark question, 12-mark question, 12-mark question. That's not a particularly useful way of doing it in my mind. Right. Don't know. Sorry, about the pigeons. How will I know? So you should be able to get all 12 marks without referring to 2 religions. Would it be easier if you had like double religious knowledge? Yes, but you should be able to get there just by showing opposite points of view, okay? As long as you're able to show 2 contrasting arguments, you should be fine. You might need to split it down between Catholics and Church of England on a question where that's possible, but if you're showing substantially different Christian points of view, you should be fine. As long as you're showing different points of view, you should be fine. Right. Okay. So, theme B. Any other questions on theme B? Anyone got any other issues with theme B before I move on to theme D? Dog. You are annoying today. Have that toy. Do you have any tips for timings in the exam? What I did when I was at school, and it worked for me, was literally writing out what time I'd finish each section. So I'd get to the exam, let's say you're starting at 9:30, I know it's an afternoon exam tomorrow, I just want to make my maths easy. And I'll be like, right, I'm going to finish section A at 9:55, I'm going to finish section B at 10:20, I'm going to finish section D at 10:45, and I'm going to finish section E at 11:05. And I would know exactly, I just have to move on, okay? And that would keep me focused in writing. Like, the worst thing you can do in the exam is ponder for ages and sit with the question for ages and not do it. The first mark's the easiest to get. You just need to get on with questions. And if you're stuck on one, it's all about just bustling through, getting something down and being like, right, I can come back to this. There is nothing you can do that will lose you marks in the exam. And that sounds insane. But on a 12 marker, if you've written 2 great paragraphs and a rubbish paragraph, they just ignore the rubbish paragraph. And they're like, that didn't mean anything. You can get 12 marks with writing 1 terrible paragraph. The examiner will be like, yep, they got their 12 marks already. And you could add at the end, like, all Christians dance in the street for Christmas. And the examiner will just be like, what a strange thing to say. Cross that out, but they already got their 12 marks. It's a good answer. So if in doubt, start writing. A t-shirt, fork, turkey. I don't know what that could possibly mean. An overall of theme B. What are the overall topics? Yeah, so theme B overall. You've got, let me just make sure I don't miss anything before I feel silly, okay? You've got human life and its value, okay? And that leads us into abortion, euthanasia. Okay, those are the 2 sort of big ones on that. And then really that takes you to death and the afterlife. I don't really cover that very well. If there's a death and the afterlife question and you've not got revision from that from the last exam, you're in trouble. You should do sheep and the goats, like do good things, go to heaven, do bad things, go to hell. Busted a bit of Islam as well. And once again, I'm talking to my students more than the others because I care about them more. You know, I'm glad other people are out there and getting something out of it, but I care about my students the most. That's my job. Then you've got value of the, and it almost splits into 2 sections. So that's sort of the first section of theme B, and then you've sort of got the value of the world, and that's sort of dominion, stewardship, and then you've got use of animals, which is going to be food and testing. They're the 2 big topics. Environment and creation. I think that covers all the big sort of topics there. Anything else on my list that I've got there? Yeah, that's all the sort of big topics. So the exam this theme is a strange one. Theme B doesn't really make sense overall. They've tried to link these things together with death and the afterlife, but it's clearly just 2 disparate sections pushed together when they've gone, we haven't really got enough stuff for just having a religion and science section, and we haven't really got enough stuff just for an environment section, so let's mix them all together. So can we waffle our way through? I mean, Kamish, of course you can try and waffle your way through. That's always the art of these exams. But the exam, like the person marking it is gonna know their stuff roughly. They're gonna be marking it quickly, but they're gonna recognise quotes that are completely nonsensical. They're gonna be looking for paragraphs. Always leave a line between paragraphs. I know that sounds really obvious, but the person marking it is looking to give you marks. So they're going to look, right, this is one paragraph, yeah, it makes sense. This is another paragraph, look, it makes sense. If you just give them a wall of text, that person's going to be searching for it and being like, did they do the second paragraph in here? Make it super obvious, okay? Nice big first line that says like one argument in favour, one argument against. Make sure the examiner can't miss that you've given the basics, okay? I know it sounds obvious. Oh, from Turkey, that makes so much more sense than fork Turkey. Yeah, gender discrimination 12 marker. We'll do that. I'll move on to theme D, and I'll leave that here. Nation 12 marker. I'll leave that there for later, and I'll come back to it if I can. Yeah, second it's ended, Miles, it'll go straight on live, so you can watch it in the morning as you go into the exam. Jamie, you're going to get yourself hidden because I don't understand why you would ask me that. What a strange thing to do. Yes, I mean, this goes without saying, Mr. Slaughter, but you're going to have to revise more than you're doing the exam. Like, the course has taken you 2 years to learn. You will learn more than you'll do in the exam. The exam will ask you about a quarter of the stuff you've learned, even less than that. It's really frustrating. Exams suck. Like, you learn a load of stuff, and then the exam go, we're never going to ask you about that. For the last, well, years and years, I haven't had a proper euthanasia question with a 12 marker. It's frustrating. Something will not come up there. I don't know quite how to do that. I will try, Kamish. Can you see my sons? No, one's asleep and the other's with his mother. I don't just have them on the floor around me, but they're in the other room, so I don't want to shout. Right. Oh my god, not an imposter. This is turning into that game that you lot got obsessed with a couple of years ago that I've forgotten. Amongst Us. Among Us? Amongst Us. Can't remember. That was all imposters, wasn't it? I never really understood it. Okay, theme D. Theme D is easy. Theme D is easy. Don't panic about theme D. It should be easy. Okay, so there's only so many things they can ask you about on theme D, and it should really come down to these things. Yeah, right, I'm just going to go and get this silly dog. Right, dog. Ian, how did you get yourself locked outside? Go on, lie down. Right, out. So, you need to have thou shalt not kill. You just need thou shalt not kill in your brain. I mean, I know it sounds stupid, but there are so many topics you can use thou shalt not kill on. So, it's going to do that thing when it goes yellow. Weapons of mass destruction. Thou shalt not kill. Terrorism. Thou shalt not kill. Pacifism. How was it spelled? There's no G in it, Minton. Thou shalt not kill. War in general. Thou shalt not kill. Okay? Holy war. Thou shalt not kill. Violent protest. Thou shalt not kill. I mean, thou shalt not kill is so useful. Absolutely too useful, okay? Why are all these things bad? For all these reasons. And they're basically all the reasons on the other side is eye for an eye. Oh, it's glorious. I mean, quotes-wise, this one is an absolute beaut. Probably not violent protest, because it'd be more awkward to use it on that. Alright? But can you use eye for an eye in weapons of mass destruction? Yeah, if someone attacks you with a weapon of mass destruction, you attack them back. Terrorism, eye for an eye, roughly, it's not the best, but I could probably make it work. Pacifism, definitely. Why is pacifism wrong? Eye for an eye. Just war in general, definitely eye for an eye. War of retaliation. Holy war, yeah, of course, eye for an eye. So those two quotes, obviously opposite for each other, are great. Then, bang. I'm actually going to move this one up. Any time in a 12 marker you use eye for an eye, always counteract the next paragraph straight into turn the other cheek. okay? Because eye for an eye and turn the other cheek are the opposites of each other. Jesus is literally arguing against eye for an eye when he says turn the other cheek. Guy comes up and is like, Jesus, in the Bible it says eye for an eye, and he's like, yeah, but turn the other cheek's better, innit? He doesn't say it like that, obviously. And then you go, oh, eye for an eye is bad, eye for an eye is good, but Jesus says turn the other cheek. If you've learnt Gandhi, an eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind, absolutely fine, use that as your counter-argument, but turn the other cheek's easier. So, our law, how does the themes paper work? You've got 2 exam papers in front of you. I said this at the start. You'll have 6 sets of questions in your left-hand paper. You'll have a load of blank paper on your right. All you do is write the question number in the booklet and answer the question. So it'll be like 1.1, so you write 1.1A, because it'll be multiple choice. 1.2 is a 2 marker, it's just bullet points. You'll be like 1.2, like it might be like explain 2 religious teachings about pacifism. You'll be like, pacifism is good because it saves lives. Pacifism is good because it stops people breaking the rule, thou shalt not kill. I mean, that's simple as anything. And you'd be like, just do it as bullet points. It's the same as the other exam, but you basically just got to write the question number yourself. Razor, I'm so sorry about that goat. What socks are you wearing? What am I wearing? Tacos. I'm just hungry. I can't eat. Right. Not sure what milk it means in that sense, Mr. Slaughter. I hope you don't mean me. I cannot be milked. I'm not a goat. Oh, he's talking about the goat. Pacifism. Pacifism is the idea that all violence is wrong. That violence is wrong because it takes lives and it damages what is God's. Pacifism is the belief of someone like Desmond Doss or Martin Luther King or Gandhi. Right, hang on, turn the light on. It's getting dark again. I forgot this happened last time. Right. Oh. Old man, swiveling on. Where's the milk socks? Luke, I wear the milk socks in school tomorrow. They're on the line drying now. Special occasions call for special socks. I'm just wearing my special socks for a random Monday when I had to meet my mother-in-law. That's not a special day. So turn the other cheek. Okay, that's going to be your counter argument to I for I, E for E. Okay, that's a counter argument every single time. Jesus is like, turn the other cheek. He's saying, slap the other one also, okay? So he says, turn the other cheek. Any of the war questions, you turn the other cheek. Jesus is like, if someone attacks you, do not attack them back. And then you can say, this is a weak argument because it lets countries get away with violence, and who else will stop violence if you're going to turn the other cheek? You're going to rely on other people to defend you for you. You're going to rely on other people to defend your nation for you. The love of money is the root of all evil, okay? You can talk about this as causes for war, and specifically link that to greed, okay? In a question about just war, okay, you can be like, a war would be just if it had a true cause, okay? And a just war would like not allow war for that. You should definitely learn what just war is, okay? Make sure you know what just war is. A time for peace and a time for war. I love this quote, okay? This one is about, this quote is for sections where you're going to talk about the reasons for war, and pacifism again. Okay? A time for peace and a time for war. You're going to be like, yes, it's right to go to war because there's a time for peace and a time for war. Sometimes you just need to go and kill someone. And you could do, the other quote in that one is, if you do not have a sword, sell, I don't know why I put a comment there, sell your shirt and buy one, okay? What a lovely quote, okay? Make sure you have a sword. Be ready to stab someone, okay? Don't literally be ready to stab someone. Jesus is saying, sometimes you have to be able to fight, okay? Same as that one, a time for peace and time for war. These are both war quotes which saying war is a good thing. You're going to counteract both those quotes with thou shalt not kill and eye for an eye and to turn the other cheek, okay? In fact, I'm going to show, I'm going to make these ones red. These, actually that shouldn't be red, that should be yellow. The red ones are going to be your pro-war quotes, okay? If you ever use a red one, you're saying that you want to go to war. You're going, yes, I need to go and kill some people because they're baddies. And the yellow ones are saying, don't go to war. This one's different because it's saying, don't go to war if it's just for money, but it's okay to go to war for other reasons. Now, I haven't read the chat in a second. How long should 12 miles? If you go back, I actually did the formatting of one. I did that probably about 15 minutes ago. So if you ever look back in the video, you can see that. I would want them lengthwise. My ones, I always say go 5 paragraphs. 5 paragraphs of about 3 to 4 sentences. I don't want it to be too much longer than that unless you're a really quick writer. And I want it to take 15 minutes on it. 15 minutes worth of writing. So 5 minutes on one side of the argument, 5 minutes on the other if you're doing 3 paragraphs, okay, and then a conclusion. Or you're going to go 3 minutes for each paragraph, okay? 3 minute paragraph, 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 okay? 4 against, conclusion, okay? 3 minutes in each paragraph. If you're going really deep into your timings. Right. For 5 markers, you should be explicit with the quotes. You've got to drop that it's the source of it in the Bible. It says. I would just have that as a standard rule. All these quotes are Bible quotes. So just always drop in the Bible. It says. Right. You got French tomorrow. Unlucky. Get burial. Is that like cereal? I don't know what that is. I wouldn't be stating why the Bible is important in every 12 marker. If you went, Christians will follow this because it's in the Holy Book, I think that's enough. I wouldn't be spending too much time saying, explaining sources of authority. Hello, I'm Mr. Minton. Oh, Keisha. You've done your RE exam. You don't need to revise again. You did it last year. Yeah, embedding them is a good idea, Mr. Praise. I think embedding them is a good idea wherever you can. Now, the other sections of this module, the only ones that are sort of like... and I put just war in that section. Like, most of the sections in this are so cool and basic, and I love. The only things that might come up that are slightly different, because all these sections are like, is it right to go to war, basically? Like, terrorism is basically like, is it right to fight? Weapons of mass destruction is it right to fight? Cause of war is it right to fight? Holy war is it right to fight for religious reasons? Your argument is basically the same every time. You're going to be arguing, yes, it's right to fight for these reasons. No, it's not right to fight for these reasons. The only thing that can come up that's like substantially different is treatment of victims of war, reconciliation. So this is about like, how should we treat people who are hurt in the war, who are victims of it, either as soldiers or no, that's not what I wanted to highlight, or as people who are fleeing the war, like refugees from the war. How should we treat them? And you're going to be like, yes, all loving, love thy neighbour, forgive 70 times 7, love your enemy and pray for those who persecute you. Okay, even if they were your enemies in the war, you are to love them now. It's all going to be positive, okay, from a religious point of view. They're going to be like, yes, treat them nicely, okay? Like, the Bible doesn't say be mean to people. That's not a thing that it comes up with, okay? Treat the people who wish to be treated. They're going to be your quotes in it. And then you could do, like, non-religious people might say, oh, this is a bad thing to do because these people were your enemies, they've attacked you, so why would it be good to them? Like it. But you're going to come down the side of, it's good to be nice to people who are against you. Victims of war is a big one that can come up. What could the 12 marker be? I mean, it's hard for the 12 marker on this one to be really difficult. The only 12 marker I would be scared of would be something like, not scared of, that would be more tricky, is the most important duty for a religious believer is to help victims of war. Maybe something like that, or it is always right to help victims of war. That would be a more difficult one. Every religious believer has a duty to forgive / reconcile. I mean, that would be slightly more difficult. Other than that, the other ones are pretty, like, it's hard for them to argue in a different way. Like, if you look through the previous 12 markers of this one, it's always some form of religious believers should never fight in a war. And then they'll be like, religious believers should always fight in a war, okay? Or it'll be, religious believers should always have weapons of mass destruction, or religious believers should never have weapons of mass destruction. Or it'll be like, religious believers should always fight in a holy war, or religious believers should never fight in a holy war. And you're going to say the same things on either side of the argument. Like, that is one that you should be pretty prepared for. I don't know what that means. Yeah, I'll bring you pens tomorrow. Don't worry about that. No, it's not maths. Yellow what was yellow? Yellow was don't go to war. Red was go to war. Green was because money is a bad cause for war. That was confusing. And blue was how we treat victims of war, because it's sad because they're victims of war. I'm very well, Keisha. I've had another baby. Yeah, the last question would be great. And the last question is basically the 12 marker from the last 2 mock exams. I don't have any of the uni ball pens. I've only got Seratas left and some other ones. I'll see if there's any in my bag for uni ball pens for tomorrow. Yeah, good. I think that's right, but I think that's why it's the hardest question. Like, why it's always right to help victims of war. I think that's a really difficult question, because what is the counter argument, okay? So let's see if we can find a counter argument to it, okay? So our pro arguments can be really easy, okay? So most Christians would suggest that it is always right to help a victim of war. They may point to the words of Jesus in the Bible, and let's, as a source of authority, look, we're justifying why the Bible is important. I'm getting everything in there. When he said, love thy neighbour, this quote means to, and I'll go for the simplest quote, treat those around us with love and respect. And Jesus also said, love thy enemy. This added to the previous quote shows that we should treat all people with love, even victims of war who may have fought against us and our values, as they are still God's creation and deserve life and respect. Whew. I mean, that is a tough one to argue against. It's a pretty compelling argument from a religious point of view. We're going to have to go non-religious on it. There isn't going to be, or we do a purposely slightly bad paragraph. Let's do a religious paragraph, and I'll show you how to do a purposely bad paragraph. I know that sounds stupid. Why would you do a bad paragraph? So, you sometimes do a bad paragraph so you can write a weakness of it, okay? So I'm not going to link into this one necessarily, because I know I'm going to do a link out of it. So I go, on the other hand, some religious believers, actually let's go some Christians. Some Christians may suggest that victims of war should be treated harshly if they have fought against your nation. For example, the Bible teaches that an eye for an eye. This quote means that if the victim of war was an enemy and took lives, then they should be punished harshly and not helped. I'm going to back up another quote just because let's say I'm going for 12. Okay, 12, grade 9, 12 marks. The Bible also says, whoever sheds, and this is a quote for the next section, we can bust it in this one, sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. So if the victim of war is a soldier, they should not be helped. This is a weak argument because the Bible talks more frequently about forgiving those around us and treating others how we would wish to be treated. So, obviously, writing terrible paragraphs is a silly thing to do, but writing a slightly weak paragraph that you know you've got a strong counter argument to, that you can link to another paragraph, is a sensible thing to do, because it's giving you some like rule to judge. If I was doing a non-religious paragraph, my non-religious paragraph would be like, a non-religious believer might say that the resources used for victims of war could be better spent helping people in your own country rather than helping people who are fleeing conflicts, especially those conflicts that aren't the fault of your nation and stuff like that. That's why I go for that one. You know, that would be the easiest one, but that's where I go from it. It's a weak paragraph, that second one. I'm going to come to the other side of the conclusion. I know I've not written the best paragraph in terms of persuasive argument. It all fits together. It's competently written, I hope, but I've made sure it's slightly weaker. I know it's slightly weaker. I'm aware of that weakness, and I'm pointing that weakness out. That's what the examiner likes to see. It shows that evaluation. Right. I don't think it's that bad. Your grandma's been choked down through a table. Oh, God, that's terrible. That's good. Yeah, an enemy can still be a victim of war because, you know, I can shoot my enemy in that war. So an enemy can still be a victim of war. Like my fellow Desmond Doss in Okinawa helps the Japanese soldiers. He helps the victims of war. That's the thing that he does. Yeah, loving thy neighbour is not a bad way of doing it. You could love thy neighbour in that question. I did love thy neighbour in that question. Yeah, good. Well done, Idris. Luke, I would if I knew how I could do that. I don't know how I'd put it in the PowerPoint. I'm sorry, but I do love that video. So, Tawheed, I think you should have them on appearances balanced. So the same number of arguments either side of it, a balanced argument in that sense. But if you know you're skewing the argument one way and you argue one side's weaker, then that's absolutely fine. If you're going to come to the conclusion that one side's more important, then that's absolutely fine. When it says a balanced argument, it means really in terms of the amount of time and the argument spent on it. Not that it has to be equally well argued either side in terms of they're both as strong as each other. Yeah, RXN, really, that's exactly what I was going to say. I should have read that on before. So you're not supposed to be one-sided. You're supposed to be balanced, but it's always good in your head to be like, if you read the question, you go, oh, cool, I know which side I'm going to come down on. That can sort of influence how you write it. You can be like, right, I know I'm going to argue it's right to help victims of war, so I'm going to write this in a way that gives me that advantage. You get the 12 marker about, like, it's always right to fight in a war, and you're going to go, cool, I'm going to come down that war is the right thing. So make those paragraphs slightly stronger. Undermine your opposite side so your conclusion makes more sense. Because if you do a completely balanced argument, your conclusion's much more difficult in some ways because you've been left with a really even scale. So in your conclusion, you've got to shovel in more information somewhere to sort of like weigh down one side of the scales. If you've already done that during your answer and you've been like, oh look, I've undermined this side of the argument a couple of times, then your conclusion is sort of partly done for you. What does CL mean? I don't know. Have I written CL? I'm not sure. No, right. I would have my humanist view or my non-religious view just as part of my argument. I would not have a separate one for humanists. They don't need their own paragraph. What was a violent protest? Like the ones in France recently, you go around and smash stuff up. Unfortunately, Lucas, Connor's probably in one of my classes. What do you do about Theme F? Do you know what? I think I did a video on Theme F back in there. So if you go Mr. Minton Theme F on YouTube, I wouldn't be surprised. I think I did one in like 2017, 2018, because I used to teach it. Theme F. Yeah, there's a Theme F one that you can have on that. It's 20 minutes long. Hopefully it'll help you out on that one. And then I've done a quote video for that with Theme F on it as well, from 4 years ago. So, oh god, no, 2019. So not even that long ago. There you go. Hope that helps. If you're on Theme F. Right, Theme E. Okay, Theme E. Right. There you go. No worries. Look, I mainly do these for my students, but you know, I don't want to leave anyone else completely in the cold. So, Theme E. I think Theme E is a pickle. quotes wise, I don't think it's too bad, but it's tough because you've got to remember so much key language. I'm going to put that down there. You need to know reformation. You need to know deterrence. You need to know retribution. Then you need to know the causes of crime, poverty, addiction, mental health issues. This is a cry for help at the bottom of the page here. Then you need to know the types of punishment, corporal, prison, community service, death penalty. There's just a lot of different things they can get you within this one. It's the one that I worry about the most in some ways, because it's like it can be really difficult to like differentiate what they're asking you. So you've got to be really careful when you read the question. Is the question asking about the aims of crime, the aims of punishment, the types of punishment, the aims of the causes of crime? Like, read the question carefully, okay? Just be careful and think, right, hang on a minute, it's the aims, right, that's the reformation, why am I punishing them? Or it's the causes of crime. And once you've identified what the question is, I don't think using quotes is very difficult at that point, but I think it can be a bit of a pain, and there's a few little tricks I'm going to point out to try and get you through with this one, okay? I don't like that Connor. I understand there's a fake Connor in there, so I'm just going to get rid of that one, I think. I don't like them. Right. It is common sense, but it can just be frustrating to get on the wrong one. Right. Yeah, I don't really understand comment section. I hope I kicked the right one. Yeah. Okay. So, for I was in prison and you came and visited me. When are you going to talk about that? Okay. Any question about prison? Obviously. Now, how the hell are you going to use that quote on prison? Because you can't just be like, prison is good because Jesus is going to like say to visit you. You could be saying that this quote is about not giving up on prisoners, okay? That prison's a good thing because it gives them a chance, and link it to reformation, okay? Link that to reformation. That's where I'm linking it in, to reformation there, okay? The aim of the punishment is to forgive them, okay? For I was in prison, you came and visited me. So prison is a good thing. It's arguing that prison can be a good thing because it can be good for the person so they can understand what they've done. It can be good for people to visit them as they can be doing a good deed. Why is that? For I was in prison and you came to visit me, alright? I for an I, okay? So, I want this on any question about deterrence, okay, as an aim of punishment, okay? We're deterring someone, because we're going to do I for an I, and then you link it to the fact that it's a strict punishment, and so therefore other people will not do it again. Retribution, I mean, I for an I is literally what retribution is, so definitely any question about retribution, drop an I for an I. Corporal punishment, I don't know why I'm writing capital letters now. Corporal punishment, because they're being hit for hitting someone, you can talk about that being corporal punishment. Corporal punishment is when somebody's whipped or struck for a crime they've committed. You can be like, corporal punishment is a strict punishment. I for an I for an I. Death penalty. Whoever's taken a life, their life is taken. Now, a lot of the time, you're going to be writing, I know it sounds strange, almost the same sort of thing you're writing on the war section, because you're going to be writing, if it's about prison or death penalty, your two sides of the argument are, should we be really strict, I for an I, should we kill people, I for an I, and like spare the rod, spoil the child, which will come to in a second, or should we be more forgiving and loving, okay? So in the war section you're going, war is good, war is bad, like war is good because you can fight back, I for an I, get revenge on people. In this one you're saying punishing criminals is good because they deserve it, same sort of thing, and then going, on the other side is good, forgive, 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 okay? So we've got to turn the other cheek again. We should have learned turn the other cheek. Make sure you know I for an I and turn the other cheek, and make sure you know their opposites, okay? They're opposite sides of it. This is going to be about reformation. You want to forgive them. You want to turn the other cheek to give them a chance. You could link it to community service. Any question community service you can do in that one. You could link it to prison as well. You definitely could link it to prison. Like, it gives them a chance to be forgiven if they're in prison. So you could link it to prison as well. Don't forget the aim of prison can be reformation, not just about keeping people out of the way. You could talk about, and then you can link to any of the causes of crime: the addiction, the poverty, mental health issues. Turn the other cheek. Forgive 70 times 7. Well, that's going to be community service, reformation. Okay, that's when Jesus asked, how many times will someone forgive their brother? And he says, forgive them 70 times 7 times. Okay, like we literally tell our students to write it like that, forgive them 70 times 7. If you want to write down 4 words, it will look better, obviously, but this is for ease of remembering. It's the night before the exam. Okay, reformation, you're going to talk about it with like poverty and addiction and mental health issues. In fact, any cause of crime is going to be causes of crime. Like, that's really easy. Nice one. And the opposite of forgive them 70 times 7, another opposite of that is spare the rod, spoil the child. Okay? Anytime when you're arguing punishment should be stricter and arguing literally that corporal punishment should be right, okay, this is your quote. This is about corporal punishment, it's about retribution, it's about deterrence, okay? So you're going to be like, yes, hit people, it makes them into better people. That's what the Bible's saying. Spare the rod, spoil the child. It's not something I believe in my personal life. I do not hit my children with a rod, but that's what that quote is saying. If you do not strike your children, they will become bad children. Right, okay. There we go. I don't think it will. I don't think it's going to be. This paper's normally the better one. I worry that they could come up with some more difficult questions for it, but I don't know. Some very odd people in here. No, Luke, no one uses study, leave the study. Right. Right. I'm teaching my students just to do Christian quotes. This one on the main part. Okay, the Christian quotes is a way of getting through this. What's my prediction for the 12 marker? Well, I'll predict one for this one, and then we'll go through it. Okay, thou shalt not kill. That's obviously going to be capital punishment. Okay, I would love capital punishment to come up as the 12 marker. Last year's was prison, which wasn't bad. It wasn't the easiest question I've ever seen in my life. Okay. And whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. Okay, these are your 2 opposites for capital punishment. I've just given a couple of bonus ones for capital punishment because if it is a 12 marker, sometimes it's nice to have another couple of bonus quotes for it. Okay, so if there is a capital punishment question, you want to go, thou shalt not kill on one side, whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. The 12 marker will probably fall down in some form of you arguing that is it better to forgive or is it better to punish harshly? The question will probably fall down in that sort of way. That's roughly where they all fall down. Because if we look at what the questions can be, okay, like, so last year was a prison, so we can go, capital punishment is always wrong, okay? Now, that could also just be corporal punishment is always wrong. That's going to be just arguing that forgiveness is better, no, strict deterrence is better. So your argument for these ones is going to be reformation on one side, no, it's better to reform the person, versus deterrence and deterrence/retribution, okay? Like, that's normally where the argument's going to fall down, okay? You're going to have reformation on one side of it versus deterrence and retribution on the other. If the 12 marker suggests on one side of it that like deterrence and retribution are the strongest things, so if it says if that is always right, okay, you've got the same question there. Okay, I don't really care that the title says mock exam. Mr. A, you can do the things that you want to do in the exam. No one's going to come and get you. But for what you've done for one last thing for theme D, I can't believe the school hasn't taught theme D. It's so easy. So I would I'm surprised I haven't done theme D, but yeah, I would try and do the one your school had taught probably. If in doubt, read the section for theme D and theme F and see which one you find easier. It's not the worst thing to do. So if you evaluate your point after the agree or disagree paragraph, do you still need a conclusion? I would always do a conclusion, even if that conclusion is much shorter. If you've done loads of weak arguments, strong arguments all the way through, you can get away with a much shorter conclusion. That's true. I would always do a conclusion. Never trust the examiner is paying 100% attention. I know that sounds like a really silly thing to say, but put that extra paragraph in there, even if it's just a couple of sentences, just so they can see that there is definitely a conclusion paragraph. Oh, I answered that one. Yeah, sleep is more important. I would be going to sleep now. I don't even know what those words mean next to each other. Sorry, RXN. I'm very old. I'm sure it's an internet thing. But I talk to people in real life more. I'm sorry. So the other 12 markers that it could be would be, let's think about, like, it could be something like community service is never a good form of punishment. That's a poor one if they wouldn't phrase it like that. But that's just going to be the same answer again. So the one that I'm slightly more scared of coming up, because most questions we've done retribution and deterrence. The one that I'm coming up would be attitudes to lawbreakers, which is one I haven't really gone over, okay? So it is always wrong to break the law. It would be an interesting question to come up there, okay? It's always wrong to break the law. So we probably need a new quote for it, actually. So let everyone be subject to governing authorities, okay? And I'd be arguing, I think that's one we'll do now, because I'm just worried about something like that coming up and scaring us. So let's do that as our last one. Would you need quotes or some evidence if you're doing? You just need to. Evidence can be just the point you're making. Like if it's explained, that is your evidence. You don't need a quote for non-religious argument. Who are you going to quote? Like just a bloke in the street. Tomorrow I'll be in school. I'll be in school all morning, so I'll try and get to free time so I can help you out. I won't be doing anything on the internet because I'll be teaching. Thanks, Jesus, for helping us through. Good luck with theme F, Mr. Yeah. So, it's always wrong to break the law. How would we start doing this question? For the person in there who wants to see a non-religious paragraph, I'll put a non-religious paragraph in there as well. Got a little bit of time. Baby's not crying yet. So, it's always wrong to break the law. Some Christians would agree with this statement, my Lord, I'm tired, statement, as the Bible has rules and structures which Christians are meant to follow, and these suggest that to follow law in your country is important. Okay, so we're going to bust out our quote that we put in there. Let everyone be subject to governing authorities. Let everyone be subject to governing authorities. Suggests that the law of the land should rule over all people, and it is therefore wrong to break the law. However, a weakness of this argument might be, okay, so it's a quote I didn't put in there and I should have done. That's the best quote in it and I can't believe I forgot it, okay? No, that's embarrassing. Let he who is without sin cast the first stone, okay? That's embarrassing. That's my favourite ones. Okay, that is anti-death penalty. Okay, so, but it's also going to be this one. This argument might be that sometimes even Jesus sometimes forgave those who broke the law. So, in the Bible, Jesus is said to have stopped a woman being executed for adultery, even though it was a crime. This suggests to some Christians that in certain cases it is forgivable to break the law. Jesus teaches that we will all be forgiven, and that he suggests we should also be visited in prison if we are arrested. All this evidence suggests that Jesus was not against people breaking the law on some occasions. However, big however, this is a weak argument. Though, new paragraph, this is a weak argument, as though Jesus forgave people, this does not mean that the behaviour was correct and that it is right to break the law. Okay? Do I have time for the non-religious one? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see what the questions are like. Has that helped people in there? So many messages. War is theme D, yes. Jesus in the chat. Yeah, you can link back to Sharia law. If you're comfortable with talking about Sharia law, yes you can. All my quotes are from the Bible in this one. All my quotes are from the Bible. 9:30 at the latest, though if I get too tired I might wrap up in the next sort of 15-20 minutes, but at the moment I'm fine. Right. Oops, I've just hidden the wrong person. Sorry for that person. I've just hidden a completely innocent person's messages. Sorry. I don't know. You didn't say anything wrong, but I have accidentally hidden you. Sorry. Can I unhide you? I don't know. Idris, I'm sorry. I just clicked the wrong one. I'm an old man. Right. Any other questions or topics people want me to go through before the end? Any other questions or topics people want me to go through before the end? No worries, absolutely fine. This is a use of my evening, even if it's not the best use of my evening. Contraception. Oh, can you do one conclusion? Yeah, RC, I'll do a conclusion. Absolutely fine. I think that's a really sensible thing. Sorry. Conclusion for RC. Okay, that's absolutely fine. I did go through D, and oh yeah, gender discrimination. Thank you, Libby. I did say I'd go back to that one. So gender discrimination and. Drag that one to the bottom so I remember to do it. Drag it to the bottom so I remember to do it. And then, what was the other one? Someone wanted to do contraception. I think contraception is a beautifully easy question. I'd be desperate for contraception to come up as a 12 marker. Do not spill your seed. So, conclusion. In fact, RC, we won't do a separate conclusion. I'll just do a conclusion onto one of these ones. So, gender discrimination is an easy 12 marker in my opinion. I don't think it's a very difficult one. I think we'll be absolutely fine. My God, what is wrong with some of you? Right, there we go. Right, so, Right, I know he wants to, who doesn't want to cut my hair? I've got lovely hair. Right. So, gender discrimination, okay? You're going to be arguing, okay, on your, let's say the question is, and women can never truly be equal. Like, that could be the 12 marker, okay? So your agree is going to be saying that men and women aren't equal. Your disagree is going to be saying they are equal. So, some Christians would agree with this statement. As they would believe that in the Bible it suggests men and women have different roles and different purposes. For example, due to Eve's temptation at the hands of the devil, women are not permitted to preach to men in Catholic churches. A quote that supports this view: women must remain silent in church, shows that this Catholic view is supported by Scripture. However, a weakness of this argument is that in the Church of England, women are allowed to become vicars and preach to men. Right, I'm not going to link to the next paragraph because I don't want to on this one. I've just done a weakness of it, which is a good weakness. I'm pretty happy with that. It's going to mean my conclusion will be slightly easier, but I'm not going to go too hard on the evaluation because I want to write a decent conclusion for RC. So actually, let's take that one out and we'll try and use that in our conclusion at the end. But I would have dropped that in as I'm going. I'm hoping I would have remembered to do that, okay? On the... Why would I find and replace? How have I even done that? On the other hand, some Christians would disagree with this completely and suggest that though men and women are not treated equally on earth at the moment, they are truly equal in the eyes of God. This is because God created all people in the image of God, and this suggests that we are all His creation and all equal. Jesus, it is also said, don't just put the word Jesus randomly, said that there is no male or female, for we are all one in... Now I'm going to put Jesus Christ, which will get the marks for it. It does actually, most Bibles say Christ Jesus. Let's say Christ Jesus, not Christ Jesse. Christ Jesus. I'm not going to do any evaluation more on that because we're going to try and write a decent conclusion for RC. Let me just check my messages. So many every time. Right. Yeah, I will try to toy. I'm not quite sure how to do that. No, I don't remember when I put you smoking in the toilets. I think, especially this one, I've referred technically to two religions because I've referred to Catholics and the Church of England. There's two different religious denominations. I would get the credit for that one. What's your favourite squash, sir? Butternut squash, obviously. What do you think? I like a patty pan or a summer squash? I'm not mad. You're all failing realistically. I'm failing unrealistically. This is a theme, a 12 marker for theme A. Oh yeah, it's theme A. Yes. This is the same. Yeah, this is exactly the same argument. This is the one for men and women can never be equal. Gender discrimination is always wrong. Men and women should have separate roles. Anything that comes up like that, you're going to have to work out that this is the paragraph you're writing. The way they phrase it will be different, and you're going to have to use some smarts and be like, what the hell are they asking me here? Right, okay, it's a gender discrimination question. Then, if on a gender discrimination question, they're very unlikely to put, this is a gender discrimination question. If you see in the title, men and women, then you know it's a gender discrimination question probably. Just read it and be like, okay, this is gender discrimination. Like your main topics are going to be like marriage, divorce, for female, marriage, divorce, contraception, gender discrimination, sex before marriage. But it might take you a couple of reads of the 12 mark to be like, oh, they're asking me about this. The section that's hardest for is theme B. Theme B, the question can read one way, and you'll read it at first and be like, what the hell are they asking me? And you might have to use a little bit of nous, a little bit of thought, and go, okay, this is an abortion and euthanasia question, or, oh, this is an environment question. They've just phrased it weirdly. Right, okay, so let's do a conclusion, okay? Conclusion. So, I'm imagining doing this conclusion on a question where you've just written paragraph, 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 paragraph. You've not linked them, you've not done evaluation, you're in a rush, you can't think as you do that. Maybe your brain doesn't work that way and you're just like, I need to do a paragraph, and then a paragraph, and then a paragraph, and a paragraph, okay? So, I'm going to try and do it like we've written decent paragraphs, okay? Obviously, I'm not going to write as we've done really bad things. Yeah, that's the full quote A, but you can just take off the there's no Jew or Gentile bit, because you don't need the Jew or Gentile bit. You could just do no man, there's no male or female, we're all one in Jesus Christ. You're kidding me, a new sofa? Madness, that's amazing. So, overall, I believe the strongest argument is that men and women can be truly equal. I feel this way because the arguments in favour of this view seem to have more basis in scripture and are also true for most non-religious believers. I believe that God is omnibenevolent and therefore would judge all people equally, if not in this life, but the afterlife. This, for me, shows that the comma's wrong. This, for me, shows that the statement is incorrect, as in God's eyes, man and woman are truly equal. I mean, am I saying it's perfect? No, but I think that would be a decent conclusion at the end of it. You can use my evidence in your conclusion. Yeah, you could bust another quote in there. I've busted in omnibenevolence. I'm not busting another quote in, but you could go like this is also shown through the Bible quotes. And then what do you want to bust in? Like, we've done God made man in his own image. Have I taught you any quotes? I don't want to go for saying I've not taught you. Bang. That's an easy one that we're going to know. Treat other people as you wish to be treated. This quote does not by gender and assumes men and women wish to be treated equally. There you go. You can bust in more evidence like that. Absolutely fine. I think that's a very long conclusion. Whether you'll have time to do that in your exam, I do not know. Okay. On the description of the video, thank you very much, Kamish. I'll try and do that right at the end. I'll save it as well, because I haven't actually saved any of these as I've been going through, really. I'll put it in the comments. I'll put it. As I finish this, before I go and look after my child, I will try and put a link to this in some way in the comments or the description or something like that. I will promise I'll try and do that. I'm stupid, but I should be able to work out that. Right, someone wanted to do a contraception question. This is the last one I'm going to do, and I'm going to wrap it up. Yeah, look, XXX. There's lots of forms of doing that. So you can go agree, disagree, conk. Okay? Or you can go agree, disagree, conk. Or you can just go agree, disagree, conk. If you're running out of time, just make sure you do both sides of the argument. If you've got both sides of the argument covered and a conclusion, you're putting yourself into band 2 almost certainly. You'd have to have really messed up to not be in band 2, which is 4 to 6 marks. And if you're struggling, that might just be a saviour and be like, oh, I can't get 0 marks. I need to get at least 4 on this one, so it's not like so it doesn't ruin the rest of the paper. I can't tank the rest of the paper. Right, let's just get agree, disagree, conclusion on there. Right. You should call your puppies Jeffrey, obviously. I will work out a way of doing it at the end. The Islam paper was last week, so if you're looking to do it in the Islam paper, you really are you're in the wrong one. You're in the wrong place there. Right. Okay. Yeah, I was aware. I've met Theo. Right. So let's write this contraception question, then I'll finish off. Right. So contraception. This is easy. Okay. We're going to do an agree paragraph first. Okay. And let's say the question is. Now the question might not say contraception. It might say for religious believers, the purpose of sex is always procreation. Now, that's a sort of question that could definitely come up, okay? And that isn't just a contraception question. It's a contraception question or a homosexuality question or a cohabitation question, but we can take it as a contraception question. Let's do a contraception back and forth on this, okay? The question could just be like as simple as contraception is always wrong. But they love making a complicated question. They love making it a little bit difficult, okay? So whichever way around it is, we can probably work out either of these. We're going to be writing about contraception if we want to, okay? Second one, definitely. First one, I want to talk about like sex and procreation is sex only of children. Well, that's against contraception, so I'm going to want to write a good contraception one, okay? So I'm going to be agreeing with this that contraception is wrong, okay? Agree. For Catholics, contraception is considered to be a sin as it stops sex having its true purpose as procreation. For most Catholics, all sexual activity should be trying to create new life. Let's try and get 2 quotes in there. Okay, this is because the purpose of marriage and sexual relationships is to go forth and multiply, and therefore sex should be used to create life. Also, the Bible tells Christians to not spill your seed upon the dusty ground. This quote is a metaphor, let's be fancy, showing that all sex should result in an attempted pregnancy and would forbid the use of any contraception think that's a nice, simple argument in favour. Okay. Now, let's do a weakness. However, a weakness of this argument is that many Catholics, I'm not going to capital, it's going to capitalise for me, no, damn it, Catholics still rely on the withdrawal method or rhythm method as a form of contraception. And though both of these do not result in wasted sperm, they can still be considered contraceptive methods. There we go. I mean, that is a fancy paragraph. If it was that big a paragraph, I think I might just do one side of the argument there. I might be like, that is enough to be the full side of the argument. I've got so much in that one, okay? Let me just check the chat in case I've said something stupid. Zoop. Don't know what that means. No, I'm not going to Barnsley to watch the playoffs. I don't know who Mark is. Yeah, Bilal, it's not the worst shout. So 1 mark, 2 mark, a 4 mark question is all the waffle, isn't it? It's just the bit without the quote, but you can use a quote in a 4 mark question. Islam and Hinduism, yeah, if you learn them, if you know them, go for it. Oh, that sounds nice, Josh. I'm glad Max is having a nice. I'm glad he's cut his grass. It'll look much neater if it's cut. I think that's a smart move. Right, okay. Let's do a disagree on this question and then I'll finish off. Oh, I'm tired. I hope my baby sleeps tonight. Really like to sleep tonight. The year 10's doing the year 10s who are taking RE have to do it because they're doing the GCSE. The ones who don't have to do core RE because you'd have to ask the government. There is a legal thing in the government thing that says all students must do an hour's worth of spiritual, moral and religious education a week. Some schools get around that by putting it into like assemblies and stuff like that. At our school we just teach it. There are year 10s here because some year 10s seem to be taking the exam early, and if there's any year 10s who aren't taking the exam, I don't know why. Right. If you're not taking the exam tomorrow, I don't know why you'd be here. So, I disagree for contraception, okay? On the other hand, now let's go religious, because it's a non-religious argument with this is so easy. You'd be like, yeah, sex is for pleasure, so I'm going to use contraception to stop diseases. But let's do a religious one, okay? Let's go church thing. On the other hand, the church, that's its crutch, but I don't care anymore. England does not forbid contraception and allows sex for other purposes than just procreation. For example, sex can be a sign of love between two people in a marriage, okay? Is because let's go for another argument, okay? They may also, let's get as many arguments as possible to help you guys out. So they suggest that contraception can stop unwanted pregnancy, and this is a good thing because God would not want anyone to be born who cannot be looked after. Now we need to find a quote for pro-contraception. How are we going to do this one? There's not like a direct one, okay? Because be fruitful, multiply, saying contraception is bad. Do not spill your seed is saying like it's bad. So, let's just bung and treat other people as we treated, okay? Members of the Church of England may refer to the quote, treat other people as you wish to be treated. Now, this is not a great quote for this one, but we're just going to manipulate it. As long as you've got your quote, like the guys in the chat, have a bit of a waffle. And suggest that if you would not want an unwanted pregnancy, you shouldn't force others to have one. Okay. There's other things you can put in there. You could talk about sex can also be a way of securing a relationship when you are cohabiting, so you do not get a divorce later. Contraception can be used to make sure that you do not spread diseases which God would not want, as He is all loving and does not want you to. I'm just throwing in answers here. Suffer. Okay, like these are all arguments you can put in there. Okay. You finished year 11 2 years ago, right? Okay. Okay. Whew. No, I'm not going to consider donations. Just I get paid. Okay. Yes, if you are smart with it, you can get top marks only using one religion. Is it harder? Yes. Would it be better to have two religions and have some Muslim ideas in there as well? Yes. But we're doing the night before the exam. We're just making sure we've got the basics covered here. So, okay, let's pick 5 quotes. Well, we got 4 sections. We're going to pick 8 quotes. Actually, let's try and get it done. Okay, most important quotes. Let's try and get the most important quotes that we can use to blag as much of the exam as possible. Be fruitful and multiply. That's definitely got to be one of them. We need be fruitful and multiply. There's so many things we talk about be fruitful and multiply. Purpose of marriage. It's against divorce. It's against contraception. It's the purpose of family. You can talk about sex before marriage and be a bit like if you really were desperate. Be fruitful and multiply. I think that's one of yours you've got to learn. You've got to have that in your arsenal. Oh, I love Arsenal. We're rubbish at the moment, but I still love us. If I wanted one from this one, right, I want God created man in His own image because you can use it in multiple sections. Okay, I definitely want you to have God created man in His own image. You can use it in multiple sections. So I want you to have God created man in His own image because you can use it in the war section and the crime section for why we shouldn't destroy life. You can use it for abortion, euthanasia, for why all life is special because God created man in His own image. But you can also use it for anything on creation. I think God created man in His own image is a really useful one. I mean, I'm not even going to teach you to treat other people as you treated. I assume you know that one already. Here's another one. Oh yeah, blessed are the merciful. So, blessed are the merciful I think it's really useful because I've got the wrong page. Because not only can you use it in this section, but you could also use it in the how should we treat victims of war section. You could teach it in the crime section as well about why we should forgive people. You could use blessed are the merciful. Just think it's really, really flexible and can be used in loads of ways. But also, it's the most important for abortion and euthanasia. If someone's got low quality of life, you can end their life because blessed are the merciful. It's a mercy to end their life. However, this is a weak argument because thou shalt not kill. You can't take a life which the Lord God has made sacred. Theme D. I mean, obviously thou shalt not kill an eye for an eye are important, but if you don't know that one by now, you're in trouble. Okay, so I think we're going to go love your enemy because once again, it's really good for treating victims of war and reconciliation. I think you can just manipulate it quite nicely. I'm trying to go for shorter quotes. If this is your emergency, I need to do something, then and the love of money is the root of all evil. I think we'll bust that one in there as well. I should have talked about that in theme E more. And then theme D, theme E, which do I think is the most important? I mean, turn the other cheek. Once again, I'm going to go for I was in prison, you came to visit me. Which is the the bottom. I'm going further than 5, but I'm just trying to shorten it down as much as possible. And they're all different colours now, which is confusing. And spare the rod, spoil the child, I think, because that's about punishing people harshly. So I think these, if I was gonna learn 7, these are 7 I'd use. The love of money is the root of all evil is good because you can talk about it for people, why people commit war, why people go to war for greed, but also for crimes that are committed for poverty and crimes committed for greed as well. So you can drop that in there about that as well. So I think that's quite a useful one as well. Oh, sorry, I've been talking a lot. Right. So let me just read the chat. Oh, it's gone. Oh, it's on this screen. Okay. No worries. Okay. Right. Well, it looks like people are just having a chat now, so, and that's fine. But I think that means it is my time to end the stream. I will try and work out how to put this PowerPoint in there to help you guys out, and if you want to read it on your way to things tomorrow, the exam, the video will hopefully upload straight onto YouTube afterwards, but I need to go and feed a small baby milk, and I might try and see if he wants some Haribo. Do you reckon? Oh right, that's not to me. I was thinking, I don't know what that means. Right, okay. Good luck. Right, okay, I am tired. Right, end stream.